Hello and welcome. Good morning to everyone, at least in the United States, East and West Coast, in the middle and in between. I'm Max, and this is the RHMax stream where you don't have to be an RHMaxy to learn and grow with us all. You just have to have a little bit of love, maybe be a fan of Richard Heart in some way, or like his products, or just have a big old bag of hex, whatever you like. So today we've got a guest, our first guest, CryptoKindness, and we're going to talk about a few different things with him. Great guy, very excited to get into it with him. But beforehand, not financial advice, not professional advice at all. Anything you see from here, take it with a grain of salt. But hey, we're just here to talk. So with that in mind, we'll play the intro and get started. All right, I want to introduce our guest, CryptoKindness, on the first inaugural RHMax channel show. Let's get into it. Let's bring him in. Welcome, CryptoKindness.
What's up, man? How the heck are you?
Well, you know, I go from panic to stoic every once in a while in the early morning hours when things don't go quite right. But hey, you're here, so it's better.
Hey, well, listen, anybody that's in the chat right now that's ever watched one of my streams know there's bound to be a screw up if I'm on it. So you can blame me.
Hey, don't be too hard on yourself. It's early for you. Well, I don't know, depending on what time you wake up. You probably get up pretty early though, right?
Oh yeah, I get the kids off. I'm up at like 6 a.m. to get the kids off and do the whole dad thing.
Hey, even without kids, it's 6 a.m. is a good time to wake up. 5, 6 o'clock.
Not quite.
Sun shining, it's out. Yeah, 5 a.m. club. Great reference for that one too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this interview is about you, and just want to get to know you more. Let the audience get to know you more. Of course, I'd say half the audience is from you. So hey, let's tell some interesting stories today that they've never heard. That's a good opportunity for that, right? So just tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you come up with your name, CryptoKindness? I love the name, of course. Yeah, and what you're all about.
Well, the name kind of is what I'm all about. So yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm middle-aged dad, really nothing exciting there. I've got 2 awesome kids and a beautiful wife. I thank God every day for beautiful women with low standards. That's just, I married the woman of my dreams. So how can you be more excited about that? But I got into crypto, I was introduced, I'll say, in 2015, basically a client of mine at the time. I'm a medical device rep. I was out to dinner with one of my surgeons. And as I look at it today, he basically brought me a platter with $10 million on it. And I was like, no, thank you. He told me about Ethereum in 2015 when it was $6. And he said, hey, when you leave lunch today, go home and put as much money as you can into Ethereum. And by the way, this is financial advice. And guess what I didn't do? So I've got that, it's always looming over my head. Some people say, the question like, oh, if you could do life over again, what would you do different? I'm like, I know, right here, pick on me. I would buy Ethereum when I was told about it. So anyway, fast forward till last June, I guess. And this same gentleman who is just an amazing guy, like awesome dude. I had a chance to actually have a nice conversation with him last night. He is a Genesis wallet on Ethereum, and he's, he retired and he moved to Puerto Rico like all the other crazy wealthy crypto people. So anyway, this guy calls me.
Shout out to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. He calls me out of the blue in July. It had been about 6 months since I talked to him. And he said, hey, I remember you were pretty disappointed you didn't get into Ethereum. I'm giving you your next layup, so don't screw this one up. And he said, there's this project called PulseChain. It's launching. And he told me this one day before the sacrifice started. And told me a little bit about Hex. And basically he said, I've been in crypto now for 7 years. I've done very well. You know that. And I have not been this excited about a crypto since I bought Ethereum 7 years ago. This is the most bullish I've ever been on a new project. And so I got off the phone with him and I said, hey, sweetie, God just called and he just told us we got something we need to get into. So we did what we could do. And we've got 2 kids. We're saving for college, you know, the middle America story. We don't have a bunch of cash lying around, but we took everything we had and we could available at that minute. Because again, the sacrifice started the next day. So you talk about a crash course in crypto. I had 24 hours of pulling my hair out and, you know, holy crap, I used to have a beautiful head of hair, trying to figure out how to get in. And I was able to do it. So I, you know, got in on the first 5 days of the sacrifice. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then of course, kept following Richard Heart, PulseChain. I got into Hex after that. But how did I get my name? This is all going somewhere, by the way.
Sure.
After I did the sacrifice, I started diving in and trying to learn as much about crypto. Like, this is my time. This time I'm going to do it. I'm not going to bail. I'm not going to flake. And as I got into the Ethereum chats and as I got into the Bitcoin chats and I was learning about some of the other stuff that was kind of hot at the time, Solana was pretty hot last summer and all this type of stuff. And I'm in the Telegram. I'm learning Telegram for the first time. I'm learning Twitter for the first time. I'm learning everything about blockchain. I'm just like consuming like crazy. There was kind of an underlying tone I noticed in most of those other groups, if you will, and that is that people are just nasty. Very unfortunate, but people are just nasty. Like there's this kind of attitude that I got in before you, and therefore you're a friggin' idiot. And that is very apparent in a lot of Telegram chat rooms and stuff like that for other coins.
I'm more OG than you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more OG than you. And because you didn't do this when I did it, you're an idiot. You're a knob. Like, don't waste my time. Suddenly you're too good. And I was like, you know what? I'm not cool with that. I don't, that's not who I am and stuff like that. So I have a unique job in the sense that I'm busy, but most of my busyness is driving. I spend, you know, on any given day, 3 to 6 hours in a car. And so that's a great opportunity for me to just YouTube and consume and learn. And I made the decision that I'm going to learn everything I can. And then I'm going to create a channel where people that want to learn can come and ask questions and not be insulted. And so CryptoKindness, come to my channel and ask me the stupidest question you want. And you're going to get a genuine answer because I want you to learn. I don't want you to feel the way I felt when I started learning about crypto and I would type questions into Telegram and I was told I was an idiot and I should leave and I should go jump off a bridge. I mean, people are just nasty out there. So I saw a need. And so I started the CryptoKindness channel. And at the same time, you know, this gentleman had introduced me to Richard Heart. And I was following along with Richard Heart. And of course, everything he does is helping to educate, helping to keep people from getting scammed, helping to make people wealthy. You know, he's got the ethos of just doing good. And I was like, well, okay, it's almost like it's a perfect fit. This is the type of culture I want to be in. So I started the CryptoKindness channel and here we are today.
Wow. No, I think it's a great introduction to what crypto has been lately too, in the last couple of years. Especially when you get into Telegram groups that have been there for a long time, or you get into a community that's just sort of, you know, they started with a few people who had some foundational ideals and then they grew so much that it just became this, you know, once you get a community to a certain size, you're always going to have these segments where there's people who want to do this, they want to do that, they want to feel this way, they want to be proud in some way. So it creates a lot of toxic elements to it too. And that's just hearing that. I'm just thinking, you know, since I've been around the community, you know, new to coming out about, you know, things publicly, having a Twitter account, interacting with the community that way, but around the community for a while, I never felt that as much. But it's interesting to see the perspective. Someone coming in a year or two ago and just being like, "Wow, this was it was quite an interesting welcome you had." So well, it's good that you're turning that into, hey, making it better for other people.
That's the plan. And I will say I never really experienced any of that in the hex community, which is why as soon as I kind of discovered it, I was like, well, okay, this is where I want to be. You get people that are day one hexagon. I mean, of course, if you look deep enough, you'll get some people kind of chirping at each other and, pounding their chest about who's best. But for the most part, you just don't get that. And I really, really like this community. And that's why I decided to stay here and build my brand around it. As you can see, I've got the PulseChain hat and all my fake hex hats in the back and stuff like this. And, Richard Heart, that's the team I want to be on.
Yeah. I mean, who better, if you're looking for health, wealth, and happiness, as we talked about before, what other founder is going to give it to you? Like, what are they, who else is going to give you that kind of ground truth and that ability to like believe in something that's actually not going to be rug pulled, not going to be pump and dumped, stuff like that. Like, it's, who else is there out there that's other than if you're in it for the technology, that type.
Yeah, exactly. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, this is your channel. This is your first stream. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm I'm honored that you chose to have me as your first guest, but this is your channel. Let the audience know a little bit about you.
Yeah, that's true. Following Richard Heart since 2017. Been working in big tech for the last decade or so, doing security, doing different types of dev work, coding, stuff like that. And yeah, when I first came across Richard at a party, a friend told me about this obnoxious guy who keeps talking crap about Ethereum. And being a technical minded person, I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. Ethereum's pretty legit. A lot of people like Ethereum. Started watching all of his self-help, self-improvement stuff, and thought, wow, this is somebody I could really get into watching, listening to, learning from, even outside of crypto. And that's what RH maximalism is really about. It's not about only owning Richard Heart products, which whatever. I think lots of people think that's a good idea. You can do that. But it's about his ideals and Scivive and like all the different ways to really make the world better without being too cliche.
Right.
That's literally what his angle is. He wants glory, and I think I'm on board with somebody who's in it for glory. They don't need money. Multi-billionaire, if nothing else, with all the sacrifice stuff going on. So I'm just been someone who's been lurking in the shadows for a while and decided, hey, I want to interact with the community more. I want to meet people. I want to have more kindness in my life. And I've been on a wisdom journey for the last few years, and I share a lot of stuff like that, and people seem to like it. So,
well, when you share wisdom,
run robin.
Yeah, that's great. When you share wisdom, you tend to draw in a really strong crowd. One of the things I learned is that if you put a video out there that's like, oh, PulseX will 10,000x in 4 days, you'll get 20,000 views, but it's all just hopium people. When you do a video like this and you talk about, improving yourself, being the best version of you, vision for the future, planning for the future, you don't get nearly as many views and nearly as many likes, but the ones you get are quality. And they're the type of people that you want in your community. And speaking of community, this being your first stream, why don't you go ahead and call out some of the people that are posting comments and go ahead and click on them, which will bring them up on screen, and welcome your chat here. These are your peeps.
That's true. I've been meaning to get to chat, as I actually had it on the schedule, but my director, CryptoKindness, thinks it's time to go ahead and do that. So Heartbeats on the chat. Welcome. Crypto Compassion, Crypto Sloth, I say good morning to you all. CryptoKindness is blowing up the chat as well. Please tweet this link out. I think we can get a little more than 4 followers. That'd be great. Or 4 watchers. So I think we're going to get into some interesting content. So I think that it's going to be, thank you for subbing, Crypto Heartbeat. I think it's going to be a very fun conversation, and I think CryptoKindness doesn't know what he's signed up for in a good way.
Yeah, and just to help you learn a little bit, if you go over and click on the comment, it'll populate on your screen.
Yes, that is true too.
There you go.
It's like I went through all this stuff a few days ago, and I was like, And then once you get into it, it's a little different. It's like, oh, I forgot to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'll show a
you know,
couple
it's not
here.
as easy as some people think. Like you just sit here and talk, and you're like, man, no, it's not that easy. There's a whole lot happening. You got comments, you got people, you're thinking about what you want to do. I've learned a ton. It's been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of really helpful people out in the community, and it's cool. It's really cool. It's not as glorious as it
Yeah.
seems, though.
Yeah, it's I think just to work on my experience the last week or so, just setting all this up, creating thumbnails, being able to reach out for scheduling and get people, you know, lined up for the stream. And I mean, luckily I know enough people in the community and have been on their streams and have had good experiences where it hasn't been a problem to get people to want to come on this so far,
Sure,
knock on wood. So that's
that's great.
been super positive and make things a lot easier. But just yeah, creating a mental map of like, yeah, how comments work, how going live works. You know,
Yeah,
you're looking at the stream, add the stream. I see comments coming in. Am I live? Would it tell me if I'm live? You know, all this stuff beforehand. I don't know. I really take I study a lot of Stoic literature, and I study a lot of just being able to remain calm and be at peace and all that stuff. So I think that helps a lot with not getting super anxious in the moment. Very helpful when you're doing things such as live streaming. So going to learn a
yeah.
little bit. I'm going to make a few mistakes, and I've already been taking notes even before stream. And one day my internet will be fantastic. But
You and me both, buddy.
yeah,
So
I feel like I'm not the only one having internet problems. But mine didn't tend to come up on in bad timing.
it's Skynet, bro. Skynet's taking over.
Skynet, you know, Elon is supposed to fix Twitter. He's supposed to fix
Yeah.
internet. He's supposed to fix rockets. So yeah, come make internet better. Make it great again. Make it whatever. Well, I guess it never was that great.
Well,
Anywho,
it's better than the alternative of AOL
yeah.
dial-up, but
I guess dial up. It's better than dial up. So yes,
so
gratitude. It's a good moment for gratitude.
we got a question in here, and I know you have a plan to stick to a topic, but let's address this question. Sandip, how are you? Sandip
Yeah,
Chowdhury. Is this
yeah.
somebody
Sandip
from your group?
Chowdhury. No, no, someone new that I don't know yet. I'm maybe came across on Telegram before. What will be your prediction for PulseX and PLS in 1 year in the worst case scenario? Hmm.
You want to go first, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll take this real quick. I don't know. I think of it in terms. I'm not even thinking about it in terms of 1 year from now. I don't know. I think everyone has their own financial plan in their mind. Everyone has their ability to like work out their plan, see how long are they gonna hold? Are they gonna sell a little bit here? Are they gonna sell a little bit there? Are they gonna do loans where, you know, they may be better tax implications, liquid loans, all that stuff. Um, I don't know. I think once it launches, of course, everyone's expecting a big run up and then a big run down. That's what it always happens with every coin that ever launches. So why wouldn't it happen with here? It may be really really high and it may be really really low, but I think around the same thing will happen. And then from 1 year, shoot, I mean, a lot of this stuff is deflationary. So, and the fundamentals are built in everywhere. Why wouldn't it go up much higher? You know, it starts really low. It's going to start extremely low, even probably lower than Hex, I imagine, especially if the sacrifice was 10,000, you know, the 10,000 points per dollar there. So, yeah, hard to say. I don't know. Kindness, what do you got on this?
Well, specifically to the question he asked, 1 year in worst case scenario. This isn't FUD, but worst case scenario is it don't launch this year. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. But I don't expect that to happen at all. But you know, there's black swan events out there, and you gotta plan for that. But worst case scenario after launch, honestly, I don't want to be too hopium, but there isn't a worst case scenario in my opinion, because I think that straight away it's going to do a 10x. And while in the realm of crypto, 10x isn't that great, you're not going to get that anywhere else in the financial market in a 1 year time frame. So proper expectations is to not have expectations, but the reality is we all do. So what do I think is going to happen in the first year? There's going to be a tremendous lot of volatility. There's going to be a lot of people excited, and there's going to be a lot of people pulling their hair out because, oh my God, it went up and it dropped 90%. I should have sold it. And There's going to be a lot of people making silly mistakes. And then there's going to be a lot of excitement. So I think realistically, 10 to 50x in the first year. And after that, sky's the limit. But I'll challenge you with this, Sandip. It's going to do as well as you promote it. One of the things that Richard obviously says a lot is no expectations
You do the work.
of the work of others. And what that means to me is, if you want this to be successful, what are you doing to make it successful? RHMax and I have got these channels. We're pretty active in Twitter. We're, I'm constantly trying to engage with new target audiences. I'm trying to get the word out. It's going to do as well as we as a community pull together to educate the masses on PulseChain. So if you want to see more than a 10 to 50x, what can you do to advance the knowledge of PulseChain in the world? I'll leave you with that.
I think that's one of the most genius things that we could write a book or just read Scivive of a lot of the genius stuff Richard comes up with, but engaging the community of no expectations of profit and putting in the onus on the community to pump their own bags. I mean, that's virality in a nutshell. I mean, that's how you get people to go promote things, to say it's in your best interest to go tell people about this, to make content around it. In the heart of every YouTuber, they want the project to grow. They want the word to get out. They want more people to learn about Richard's products and stuff about the bags they hold. And for me, again, it's more than crypto. It's about the ideals and stuff as well. So I wouldn't just promote Hex and Pulse and all these things. Of course, I want that too. But Scivive, his ideals, the way that he goes about his business, and how he's best founder in crypto. Obviously, if you look at the facts, that's a big deal too. So, great question. Great question, and I like the angle you took of will it launch? Worst case scenario, does it even launch this year?
Yeah.
I still have a prediction out there. I still have mine still in play. I said announcement in April of something significant. I can't remember exactly what I said on that, but then in May, I'm still my prediction is still it's going to launch in May. I said that before anything about mid-May came out of Richard's mouth. So I think I said that in March or early April, and yeah, it's still in play. So knock on wood. I mean, we're supposed to get 2 weeks notice before the fork. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen mid-May, unless he announces today. But it may happen end of May or early June. That's the best guess on that.
I couldn't agree more. I'm kind of realistically thinking June, but
hey,
the short answer is I don't care. But honestly, I care a ton because, people are getting burnt out of waiting, and that's on them. It's on me. There is no expectations. We've gone over this 1,000 times. It gets hard to stay engaged when you don't know what the finish line is. Like if you're running a 5K, 10K, you know how hard you need to charge because you know where the finish line is. But right now we don't know where that finish line is, and it gets tough to stay engaged. So I understand why people are constantly like, oh my God, when is it coming? When is it coming? Just give me something to aim for.
It's been a while. It's been what, 8 or 9 months now. It's software's hard. We'll say. I think the route to think about this is, hey, it's going to come. It's definitely going to come. Don't plan any big life events around it because you don't want to be disappointed, and just assume it's going to come. And when it comes out, it's going to be great. So don't worry about it. It'll be here, and just focus on building, focus on creating, focus on getting the work done in the meantime. Buildle.
That's right.
Remember the bear season model, buildle, and I guess hodl as well, but mostly buildle.
So do you know what hodl means?
Do I know what hodl means?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What does it mean?
Hold on for dear life.
Okay. So many people don't know what that means.
So many people don't know. Yeah. Okay. Buildle. So BUIDL is just kind of a play on hodl, which was famously after the 2017-2018 bear market of just keep building, because eventually the bear market will be over and the bull market will be back. And when a bull market comes back, we're going to be so much more prepared because we're building stuff, we're creating stuff, we're making new products in the meantime. So hodl, buildle, there's your dictionary definitions of the day. Good call out.
I was streaming with
all right.
K4K, and I was like, yeah, you know what hodl means, right? And he's like, no, I don't have any idea. It's like, really? So it's kind of funny.
Wow. Shout out to K4K and for not being, I guess there's some things that if you don't know things like that, you probably missed a lot of the bad stuff too. So his soul is more clean, I guess. Yeah. So there you go.
He's a great dude. Great dude. But anyway, let's get back to your agenda. I'm sorry, I just threw a big wrench in your entire plan.
Let's route it back. No, that was a great question. Spun us off in a direction that people want to see, though. So that's good. All right, questions. I really want to know what gets you out of bed in the morning. Like what? For me, I'll preface it with, for me, I wake up, pretty early. I start thinking. Okay, what am I going to do today? I already usually have some stuff I want to continue on building or creating or writing or whatever. I'm going through my feed. I'm looking at, a lot of news, whatever it is. And then the whole day, I feel pretty excited. I got a lot of stuff. I got, a lot of things to do at home, got a family, always interacting with people on Twitter, DMs, things like that. That kind of keeps this excitement in me all day. There's always something to work on, always something to do. And I feel like I'm being very productive. So I think each morning when I go to bed, I feel great the next day because I'm just going to keep kicking ass. So what about you? Like how do you feel in the morning? What gets you out of bed? Like what motivates you?
That's a good question. I have historically been a very motivated person, but just recently in the last year or so, there's been a change in that. So it's actually something that I think would be interesting to discuss here, because I know you do a lot of this self-help, self-improvement type of stuff, and it might be a place for us to discuss. But I am a motivated person. I'm a salesman, and I am a high octane salesman. I don't take any. I don't like not doing well, and so I've historically been a pretty good performer. I've won some sales awards and stuff like that. And so that's what keeps me going, is I like to be the best at my trade. And so that's what gets me up. Like, what can I do today? I always have an agenda. I always have a plan. I'm always building on what's next. And that's my primary motivation. I would say secondary, but not so much, is, of course, my family. I mean, I should say that's my primary. Being a good leader to my children is the primary focus, honestly. And what does a good leader look like? Well, somebody that gets out of bed and goes to work, and, I'm showing them the habits that you need to be successful through my own actions. So that's what really drives me, is just to be the best at my trade and go out there and perform. But recently, so this is something I'm curious to maybe learn about your thoughts on. My whole life, I've lived by goals. I'm a firm believer in goals, and more than that, written down goals, and even a step further, written down goals that you share with somebody, so you have an accountability partner. That's my wife. I mean, my wife and I have always just been very in sync with what we want to do, where we want to go, and how we want to approach the world. And leading up to about 3 years ago, most of our goals were financial based. Like, we want to pay off the house, and we want to hit this number in the 401k, and we want to have this amount saved for the kids' college, and we want to move to a better school district and perhaps a bigger house and stuff like this, which we did about 5 years ago. I never thought I'd be in a situation that I am today, both financially and career-wise. And I've run into the most interesting of challenges, and that is, I have accomplished all my goals and I don't have any more. And that's kind of left me in this like place of wallow. What am I chasing now? I just shared with you, I'm a high driving salesperson. I'm always chasing something. And now in my personal life, I'm not chasing anything. So I'm honestly, I'm a little bit lost. I've had some challenges in the last 6 months to a year on What are my goals? What am I chasing after? And yeah, so it's an interesting conversation. I never thought I'd be in a position of, I don't have any more financial goals.
Wow. So even I'm gonna assume that you're not a billionaire at this point.
That's a safe assumption.
Okay. So do you set up your goals in a way that I'm just kind of brainstorming of how I think a lot of people would think about this too. Um, the more money, the more stuff you can do. That's one way to think about it.
Mhm.
So do you have ambitions? For example, PulseChain goes to, a dollar, whatever it is. Everyone's rich. You're super rich. If you put in more than others, things like that. Do you ever think about it as steps as, okay, I can accomplish more with this wealth, depending on how much I have? Once I get past generational safety, once I get past, I buy this or that, I take care of this or that in my personal life. Do you ever think about starting a foundation? You used to think about, what can you do to make a wider impact with it? Like, because that seems like it would feed into some of your goals as well.
So it does, and outrageous generosity is something that I'm a firm believer in. And in fact, part of the reason why I'm alive today is because other people have been outrageously generous to donating to the development of pharmaceuticals and stuff like that, orphan drugs and things of that nature that just don't get a lot of funding. So our family is really, really big in generosity. We do donate to a lot of things. We participate in a lot, and not as much as we should because we're busy with kids and sports, but community type of things. So, I mean, absolutely, that's one place we want to go. But as a goal, that's hard to quantify because a lot of that involves something that I don't have any control, or I should say, have very, very little control over, and that is the performance of PulseChain, PulseX, Hex, things of that nature.
So you
Even
think
in
you're kind of holding back thinking about these ideas because you don't want to build hopes up that you'll be able to, climb that ladder with the wealth because you don't want to set up expectations to be disappointed if things, are rocky for a while
absolutely,
or take a long
yep.
time.
One way to a sure life of disappointment is have unrealistic
Mm,
expectations of everything. It goes for
I like that.
vacations, it goes for Christmas, it goes, anything in your life. If you're like, oh, this is gonna be the best day, or this is gonna be the most fun, or this vacation is gonna solve all my problems, and then it rains. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
We-
expectations are good because they kind of drive you, but they can also be the silver bullet that just kills you because once you've set that in your brain and you've planted that seed, it's gonna grow no matter what. So
mhm.
yes, to
Yeah,
your
like being able
point,
to balance that. Yeah.
I don't want to set a goal of something that to achieve it, I have very little control over. So it's
Mm,
challenging. It's just one of these things that I kind of struggle with. Like, okay, I've got some great ideas. A lot of them are out of my uh, wheelhouse of control. So then you could say, okay, we'll set goals based on your current situation, and we've done that, and we're accomplishing those. So it's like I said, it's just this kind of weird spot that I'm in, and I'm really working on trying to address it. I recognize it. Self-awareness is an important thing. So the question is, where do I go with that? I haven't come up with an answer yet.
yeah, yeah. No, we'll swing back to that. I just want to answer this question real quick. Thoughts on what you'll do when sudden wealth syndrome hits from producer paradigm? Um,
I can answer
yeah, you want
that.
to take that?
2 chicks at the same time.
I'll tell you what I do, man.
I tell you what,
Two
hey
chicks at the same
Peter,
time.
I don't care who you
Oh,
are.
that's a
That's a
great one.
funny line.
So, Office Space
um,
reference. If you haven't seen Office Space, please go watch it today. So good.
oh my gosh, yeah. So thoughts on what you'll do when sudden wealth syndrome hits. I can tell you that it's not what I will do, it's what I've already done. And that is, it's incredibly important today, regardless of your economic status. That's a thing. I hate the word status, but whatever, we'll call a spade a spade. You need to become financially literate because if you wait until you have a pile of Benjamins in your bank account, you're going to screw it up because you've had something, there's something sitting there you've never
Mm,
had. You've always had these dreams. I want a Lambo. I want a jet. I want all this type of stuff. And if you look at the history of lottery winners, what do those people do? They piss it all away. And oftentimes they turn, $100,000 into $1 million of debt. And then they can't even, they go bankrupt because they can't feed that animal. So becoming financially literate before you become wealthy is an absolute must. So I'm a huge Dave Ramsey guy. I know people have different opinions on him, and I don't necessarily believe in his moral beliefs and some of the things he does, but his teachings I think are fantastic. He's part of the reason why my wife and I are debt free, 100% debt free. We've paid off our house. Like, we don't owe anybody anything. And
Congrats.
people will argue with that. Well, oh, that's stupid. You can borrow at this amount and you can invest and earn more and all this type of stuff. But here's one thing that I'll share. If you're listening to the stream and that thought just went through your mind, you cannot put a price on risk. And as long as you have a loan, whether it's your house, your car, whatever, there is risk. And you say, oh, well, I got a job and it pays this much. Well, I can tell you that I live in a nice area. A lot of people have nice houses, nice cars. And when the pandemic hit, a black swan event, and they weren't able to work for 6 months, there was a incredible amount of stress and anxiety in some of my friends, some of my close friends, even family that live by debt. My wife and I, man, we were grilling out. We were having the time of our lives because it doesn't matter. I could work at McDonald's and cover my taxes, So you can't put a price on risk. You can't put a value.
I'd say peace of mind too. That's what came to me when
you can't put
my own house. Yeah, I'm at, if I'm doing rental houses, real estate, other things like that, yeah, it's smart to take out debt. But your own house, peace of mind. You want peace of mind on that.
Yep. So the sudden wealth question is: prepare today to be successful tomorrow. Chance favors the prepared. One of my favorite quotes of all time. It actually comes from a Steven Seagal movie, but I love it. Chance favors the prepared. If you're prepared today and you're laying the bedrock foundation for success tomorrow, then when the sudden wealth comes, you won't screw it up. You'll know how to manage your money. So look into some things. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That book changed my life. Flat out changed my life. Dave Ramsey taught me how to be financially literate and pay off debt and stuff like that. So producer paradigm, I'm not sure I answered your question, but I would challenge you to start preparing today on how to be financially literate so you don't screw it up tomorrow. But RHMax, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it pretty well. And as far as I would just say the framing of the question of what do you do when sudden wealth syndrome hits, I thought about this as well. I think everyone investing in richer products has thought, wow, well, first of all, you believe it's possible. Possible is different than happening, but it's possible. And then second of all, you think, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to, get completely new friends? Am I like, I need, not that you're going to like shake them all off and just never talk to them again because they're not as rich as you, but like you're going to have less in common with the people that you interact with day to day. I read something the other day. Is your friends are going to change over your lifetime. You just need to accept it. And that kind of scared me for a minute because I like my friends. I feel like I have good friends. I have good relationships with them. I've already had a few that have moved away and I don't get to see as much anymore. And that makes me a little sad. And I think, wow, I don't want to keep, hemorrhaging friends. I want more people to, move closer instead of moving away. And now if my economic status changes, are they going to be jealous? Are they going to, am I going to change in a way that's they look at me differently in a negative way, just because they can't keep up or they can't relate to me or they can't, we go on vacation somewhere very expensive and they can't go. And, what if I offer to help? Now I'm going to offend them, all these crazy things. So I would just reframe the question of, what will you do when it hits? And I would say, instead of worrying about that, make it happen first. It's kind of what Naval says about, you want to be happy? Well, let's get you rich first. And then you worry about being happy. So I would take that and adapt it a little bit and say, hey, worry about doing it first. And then in the meantime, you got plenty of time. PulseChain hasn't even launched yet. In the meantime, figure out how to set yourself up where it won't hit so hard. You won't be a lottery winner. It won't just happen one day. You'll be prepared. You'll have, plans, and you can make plans and you don't have to, you can say, okay, this is my get rich plan. When I get rich, all this stuff, I want to do all this stuff. Write it down, iterate on it, think about it from time to time. Again, you got plenty of time before, you get rich. You had plenty of time several months ago, and now you still got time to it because that hasn't launched. Even if it launches, again, don't expect it to go to the moon immediately. Just take your time on that. So
Yeah.
I want to come back to your question. So you're talking about your motivations too. Envy. What about envy? Because I think envy gets a bad rap. I think envy is a huge motivator, but everyone thinks, oh, envy is bad. You shouldn't envy people. It makes you jealous. It makes you, have these negative feelings. But to me, envy is neutral, and it can come out negatively, but it can also be a huge motivator. You see what someone else has and you want it. Now you're more likely to work really hard to get it. Doesn't mean you're going to steal it. It more than likely means you're going to work hard to get it. Can envy be a motivator for you or for anyone else in that way?
100%. Envy is a very strong motivator. Misplaced envy is where it becomes negative. And I can't remember who is saying it, but somebody I listened to saying, envy is a great motivator. Where it becomes problematic is if you're envious and to the point of saying, well, it's not fair that you have those things because I can't have those things, and therefore we need to put legislation or rules in place that make it so that you can't have it because it's not fair. That's when envy goes too far. But envy as a motivator is, goodness, it's probably the most powerful motivator out there, and I can speak from experience on that. I grew up in a very, I would say, blue collar, maybe even a little bit low blue collar neighborhood. I have amazing parents, amazing family, love them to death. My dad was a hard worker, still is. And, but, we had some challenges, our family, that made money not go very far. And so as I grew up, my grandpa, however, was very wealthy. And I got to experience things like a summer cottage on a lake and a hunting cabin and stuff like this. Very, very blessed uprising. But when I went back home, that's not the life I lived. So I would go to my grandpa's cottage in the summertime, and all the rich kids would be buzzing around in their little Boston Whaler boats and, driving their Jeeps here and there. And I didn't have any of that. So I said, I'm going to have that. I'm envious of it. I like it. And I'm going to do that. That was my goal in life, is like, I want to live that life. And so it was the envy of what they're doing and what they're experiencing that has driven me this far in life. And I can tell you a little secret. I got a lake out back there, and there's a Boston Whaler parked at the friggin' dock. I put it on the goals list, and there she sits.
Nice.
Beautiful. I take my son fishing every morning in the summertime, and it's wonderful. And it's not, the other thing about goals, and I know you and I have talked about this before, is it the thing you want, or is it what that thing allows you to do that you want? And so, I've got the boat. Was it the boat I wanted? It turns out it wasn't. It's what that boat allows me to do, and that is spend time with my son fishing in the morning. That was the reward at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So, I think envy is incredibly powerful as long as you don't misuse it to the extent of, okay, I'm envious of you, and because I know I can't achieve that, you shouldn't have it too. That's wrong.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think, it's weird. Maybe, growing up around religion, maybe if you have that sort of background, you're always told, oh, envy, jealousy, greed, all these things, they're bad. And it's kind of like, I think they can be used in a bad way, but they're really not tools that are for evil. They're really these tools that can be used to empower yourself, to better, to produce more and be more valuable to society if used in the right way, like you said. So
Yeah,
that is a great point.
Agreed. And
So
you bring up a very interesting point about the religious aspect of it. And I grew up in a Christian family, and you hear that, don't covet the neighbor's wife or whatever, all that type of stuff, unless she's hot. I mean, let's call space.
that one's probably okay.
But yeah, there is kind of a negative connotation that goes with it, especially in some of the spiritual circles. But it's just like anything else. Substances, if you're dependent upon it, or you're addicted to it, or it's something you always think about, if it controls your mind, then it's bad. And in that case, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's envy or jealousy or substance abuse or, even chasing money. If it controls you, then you gotta start looking within to fix some of those problems.
Well, I think in crypto, envy is powerful in the way that it's I no longer envy people. I mean, with all due respect to all the people who have spent 40 years in a career, have done amazing stuff, and feel very fulfilled doing that. I no longer envy people when I see them accomplish something like that. I now envy people who are retired at 25, 30, 35, 40. I envy those people, and I think that's even a motivator as well. Do you feel that?
100%. And I'm envious of them, not necessarily because of the money they have, but because that they were wise enough to recognize a disruptive technology and they took the chances necessary to get where they are today.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if you were happened to be on Twitter last. No, I know you were. So Richard Hart put out that stream of do a hex, but just do some sort of flex and share something with us. And all of these people were sharing like, I got into hex early, and this one guy put, I bought a G6 plane. It's like, holy crap, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm not envious that he has that plane. I'm super happy for him. Like, that's so cool. Honestly, if he wanted to
Hmm.
take me for a ride, I'd be like, yeah, right here. But I'm not
Some
envious of
people
that
hate on
money. I'm
that.
not
I
envious
don't
of
know how
that.
people hate on stuff like that.
I
That's
know,
why
like,
wouldn't you be like, that's great, I want that too.
yeah, exactly. So my response to that was like, dude, that's fantastic. Congratulations. I'm super happy for you. What I'm envious of is that he was in the right place at the right time. He heard about hex and he took a leap of faith and it paid off for him. I'm envious of that. I wish I would have heard about hex at the very beginning. So what do I do with that information? Well, I pay attention more now and I'm active in these circles and I'm asking the right people what's going on out there. And here I am today. I'm hoping that PulseChain does the same. I'm hoping that PulseX does the same. I'm not envious. It's cool. I'm super happy for some of these people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jerry asked in the chat, heard there is a hex giveaway. Did somebody make a
Uh,
spam channel version of RHMax? Because that you didn't hear that from me exactly. I don't know. Are you giving away some hex kindness?
I am not. I'm sorry. All my hex is staked, so I can't do that. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I
No,
ain't got none, brother.
I not a bad idea though. I don't know. I keep thinking
No,
there may
actually,
be it'd be interesting. Mhm.
there is. There is a hex giveaway.
Oh, okay.
I
You
apologize.
heard it here. There's X giveaway.
No, I'm sorry, Jerry, there is. So Richard Hart is doing a free hex giveaway. If you go buy some hex today, in about 2 months, when the PulseChain comes out, you are going to get free hex. So, and you don't even need to do
PX.
anything more than just go buy a little bit of hex. So I apologize. I should have known the answer to that question. Jerry, 100%, buddy. There is a hex giveaway. You just got to buy a little bit of Ethereum hex today. And in the not too distant future, you're going to have PulseChain hex.
Yeah, I think actually that's a good idea as far as I wonder why there isn't more hex faucets for p hex for e hex. I mean, obviously we know why there's no for px yet, but yeah, you would think that's one of the projects that would have happened. Think of all the people who they got millions and millions of hex. I'm not saying anyone should give away their hex. I'm just saying of all the awesome projects in the community, I know there's different lotteries. I know there's different systems like that. The Staker app has some gamification too.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm almost surprised there's not a hex faucet where you can just go and like, hey, we'll give you 100 hex. You just click this. I guess it's easy to abuse. My security mind is going down. I'm like, oh, yeah. I think
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you change your IP address. Doesn't matter if you do this. Somebody will drain that faucet. I mean, you could put other restrictions like, hey, we can only give out 1,000 per day and make them race to get the first 10.
Mhm.
10 times 100. But I don't think it's a terrible idea. That would be cool for onboarding. That would be cool for stuff. But it takes someone who wants to be philanthropic.
It does. And it takes somebody with a huge bag.
Maybe. Well, that's a great. That may be something for the Compassion Cartel and the Pulse Promise deal too.
Yeah.
That no one's heard of that before. Crypto Heartbeat spearheading that deal of basically when Pulse comes out, You want to set aside, however much it is, 1 million Pulse, I forget the number, and into a wallet, and you just promise yourself this. You're not sending anyone any coins. You just promise yourself you're not going to touch it. You're going to hold on to it, and then you're going to decide with the community, or just take it and do your own just good initiatives in the world. Support whatever you want to support. But the idea is you're going to get all these coins that you've sacrificed for. You're going to have, millions and millions and millions. Of course, the price is going to be, much lower than it would be that everyone expects it to be later. But if you hodl that and you do something, you talk to other people, see what they're doing, come up with a plan to do something later with it, you're able to make a bigger impact because it's going to grow over time. So I wonder if that would even be a project that could come out of the Compassion Cartel, of, hey, we have this Pulse faucet, and we're giving it to the best. You submit your proposal, and then the top 3 proposals win first, second, third place prize, stuff like that.
Awesome. I mean, there already is the free Pulse IO faucet for early on, so there are some people doing that. But real quick, want to say hi to chat. We've got Finn Bear. Thank you for being here this morning. We've got Jerry Oaksmith. We got Moons. Super, super kind of y'all to join us and support RHMax here. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, you all are great. Great questions, great comments. Keep them coming, guys. And ladies, if there's any there as well.
Yes, sir. We were up to, I think, 12 people with us already. We've dropped back a little bit now, but that's all right.
Nice. Hey, it's the first and won't be the last. Trust me on that.
That's right.
While we're talking about Richard, though, I did want to ask you, so like, what's the best, it wouldn't be an RHMax stream unless we talked a little bit about Richard. So
Gotcha.
What's the best side and the worst side you've seen of Richard? And, nobody's above constructive criticism. We're not here to hate on Richard, obviously, but I think people really want to know, I was at the meetup the other day with some folks, with Jerry and Valley Brandon folks. And, we got in a conversation, and there was like, it did come up about, hey, a lot of stuff Richard says, it's a means to an end. He's a salesman, he's a marketer, and he's super great at it. But he does, every once in a while, he'll say something, that's not quite, especially, if he talks about computer security. The one thing he does say about VPN, he never recommends VPNs, which I think is funny because, I famously I think there's this big miscommunication about VPNs and how they don't do security. They just do privacy stuff. And it's funny when people ask him to use VPNs or what do you use, he never really answers it, which I think internally he's like, yeah, because he doesn't want to explain like, how they're used and how they should be used, even though he knows about that. Anyways, sure. What is the best side you've seen of Richard, and what is the, what are some of the things he's done or did that you think, maybe you should do less of, or that wasn't quite right, or things like that?
Well, that's hard for me to say. I mean, I'm a guy in my basement doing a live stream, and he's a multi-billionaire creating.
But all that aside, you are on equal footing with Richard right now.
Okay.
I know it's hard to do, but
it is. So, I mean, first and foremost, the good is it doesn't take long of listening to him to realize the content of his character. And that is, I mean, I don't know if I'll give a shout out to Sweaty Hexakin. If you haven't seen the video, he put together the kind of tribute to Richard Heart with the choir singing in the background. It's an absolute must to watch because it just totally epitomizes what he's all about. And that message is, I want to create products that allow people to achieve what they wanted to achieve financially and spiritually. So that way, I think he words it in, I want to give you everything you want. I want to give you the money so you can have the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And once you realize that that's not what's going to fulfill you, but you're still rich, then you can join me in changing the world. I mean, that is such a impactful statement alone that tells you exactly what he's trying to achieve. One of the people I shared, like, there's the trailer to the upcoming documentary, And in that, he says, I want to, what is it? I want to achieve greatness, or what is it that he says specifically?
Glory.
I'm in it. Yeah. I'm in it for the glory.
Mhm.
And my buddy's like, oh, dude, this guy's all full of himself. He says, I'm in it for the glory. And I'm like, well, hold on. Yeah, that statement, if only taken in that snippet of time, could sound bad, but you got to look at the fundamentals that drive that statement. And his idea of glory is, I want to make you rich so that you realize being rich isn't the answer, and then you will join my team to change the world. Mind blown. I mean, absolutely. That is the team. I want to be on that guy's team. Because he's going to make me
For
rich.
people who don't know him, they need to look at him like a rock star. Like, he's going to say
Yeah.
things like that. Like, you can't look at him like someone who you don't respect or someone who you don't know or don't care about or don't like. If you look at him like that, yeah, you're going to criticize him all day. But if you look at him like this rock star who wants glory, already rich, never going to rug pull, who just wants to make the world better, you're going to see it in a different light. And I think a lot of people get that mixed up.
Yeah, it is. Now, that being said, what could he do better? Well, I want to tread lightly here because, first of all, who am I to judge? But some of the things that he's already done are showing that he's, I believe, starting to make that mental change. First of all, he stopped swearing on his streams. He's had a couple slips lately, but that's a first step. I would say if he could stop telling people to suck his balls, that would be helpful. Because it's hard to sell this product to your grandma and then she watches the stream, whatever. I'm not selling it to my grandma, but so cleaning up. And then the other thing is, while I understand the marketing behind the Louis Vuitton stuff and, the unboxing and these type of things, for me, when I'm introducing somebody to the Richard Heart ecosystem and I say, go watch these streams, they just can't get past that. They're like, dude, he spent 15 minutes talking about how he just bought a $40,000 bag. And so it's hard. Like, I understand why he does that. I get it because,
he's looking at the metrics.
Yeah, exactly. And the initial attraction to crypto is, why do people come to crypto? Because they want to make $10 million in 5 days worth of work. So by showing that stuff off, your essentially captive audience is like, oh my God, if I buy his stuff, that's going to happen. But the long-term audience, I think the deeper thinkers, the hodlers, the delayed gratification people don't necessarily see it. So, it's hard to say. I really don't want to cast stones because I see all roles and I understand how they play into what he's trying to accomplish. But, a short list of things. He's already cleaned up his language. I like it. Let's maybe remove the sucking balls comments and stuff like that. And, every now and then.
He already says PP now. What do you want?
No, that's still a little whatever. But, and every now and then he still goes on a tirade and just calls somebody a complete noob and an idiot and you don't belong here and stuff like that. But I also understand he's been just attacked for years. He's been attacked for years. And so at some point you just get tired and you lash out and that happens too. So I think he's doing a phenomenal job. You can see that he's starting to make these changes. The documentary, the persona that he's putting forward is slowly changing to the more professional, the softer side of Richard, if you will. And that's all I got to say about that. How about you?
Yeah,
what do you think?
I mean, I'll take it in context of producer Beardown's question as well. RH content, speech is distraction. Mm-hmm. You touched on it. I think that, I think over time he did realize that, it's funny with him. He'll take an angle, and whatever he does, you could see both sides of it. Mm-hmm. But that's why I say when people look at him, it's a means to an end. Like, everything he does is deliberate and planned. And, he puts a lot of thought into it. He looks at the metrics, all these things. So is it a distraction? I think the audience he wants to attract to keep going in a broader audience, it can be a distraction. Yeah. So you see him on Twitter Spaces. He curses all the time. He's not trying to, he knows the people tuning in Twitter Spaces are a different demographic or different people than he wants to get on the live streams, with his 200K subs and stuff. So is it a distraction? I think it depends on who he's speaking to. And I think he's been trying to speak to a larger audience, which is why he's toned it down a lot, as kind of said. But yeah, everything he does is kind of like, I think even now when he tweets about, the one that you mentioned earlier, do a hex flex, tell about the greatest stuff, all that things. And then he mentions his PP. It's just like, you had everything perfect at the end. This was a totally universal tweet until you said PP. And
Yeah.
now I don't even think most people are going to say, they're not even going to recognize it as what he's talking about. I think they're going to think it's like code or slang for something. So it's going to be
Right.
kind of confusing too. It's funny just the way he drops these things. But again, it's a means to an end. He turns the knobs on his own self. He looks at the metrics. He sees what people like.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
a person who's been watching him for years, literally like 5 or 6 years, do I enjoy him showing the Louis Vuitton bags? My wife likes it. She looks at it and says,
There you go.
wow, Richard's doing some cool stuff. And, oh, that's just Richard. He's just showing off being rich again. But because she's been kind of watching it with me over time too. So, but if I would just send it to someone, I send it to friends who aren't really into crypto, they're going to be like, oh, what am I watching a fashion show? Like, what am I watching right now? So, but again, he wants to attract people who have money who could buy crypto. Getting 1,000 people, 1,000 rich people to buy hex is just by the numbers. It's a better deal than getting 10,000, as he would say, broke plebs, which he still says broke plebs a lot, which is, I'm not sure that's ever going to be endearing to anyone. But again, it's any criticism we could have of him. And again, we're pretending like we're on the same level. Me and Kindness both know we're not on Richard Hart's level. But if we
No.
were, and we were to, criticize him, everything that we could say, they could be a counter for, hey, it's a means to an
Yeah.
end. He's doing what it takes for this mission. If he needs to dress like a clown, as he says, if he needs to show all kinds of crazy watches and cars and and luggage and all this stuff, it's because he wants to make the mission go faster, bigger, and better.
Yeah.
It is not because he's doing what he can to make his products be the most popular products in the world.
And he's so
So
many
you need to
steps.
frame it in that mind.
Yeah. Absolutely. And he's so many steps ahead of us. Like everything he does is planned. Everything he does is calculated. He knows his target audience. I mean, it's easy for you and I to sit back and say maybe some of his language, but the reality is the target audience for crypto is 15 to 35-year-old males. And that target audience gets a kick out of a lot of the stuff that he says. But to your point about the Louis Vuitton and the rich, I don't know if I'm in the States and I've gone skiing at Vail. I've been skiing at some of the higher end resorts, snow skiing that is. And rich people strive to impress rich people. They want to make other rich people envious, as we talked about earlier, because you got this money and it's all about status. So what do you want to do? Well, you want to make other people that are rich envious, and you want them to have what you have. So kind of to what you said, he's not targeting you and I and the broke pleb, if you will, because one whale can buy way more hex than 10,000 broke plebs. So again, he knows what he's doing. And you and I look at it, I guess my goal is that one day he's actually targeting me.
That I was just thinking that. I was saying, so the quote here is, if you don't like or understand what he's doing, maybe you're just not rich enough yet.
Join his circle first.
Yeah. I think we understand what he's doing because we're able to forgive him. We're able to look past it. We're able to be like, all right, if we can't understand what he's doing, then that's on us, not him, because we have watched enough of him to know what he's about, what his mission is, things like that. So we can look past it. So if you're not, I would just say, think a little deeper about what he's trying to do. The man is in it to make for glory. And how does he get glory? Become the best possible version of himself, but with the self-help angle. And how does he do that? He becomes wealthy. He puts his product out there, and he makes so many people, probably everyone who, at least in the early days, who follow him, rich over time. He wants to make more people like him. He believes his ideals are great. He wants to elevate himself, and there's nothing wrong with that. You could say, oh, that's selfish or that's self-centered. it's not like the idea. It's not like he's a Nazi or something. Like, he has good ideas. These are
Right.
healthy ideas. So wouldn't you want someone who has a lot of healthy ideas to influence other people to carry on those ideals? Yes, you would.
Yeah.
So that's his story.
And the one thing I think that is entertaining, and I had this realization the other day, because as I was getting some not so friendly feedback on one of my videos,
Mm.
it's easy to throw stones, but we all live in glass houses. And by that, I mean, you know, you hear people complain about him talking about his Louis Vuitton and his Ferrari and all this type of stuff. But you ask that same person that's complaining, hey man, what's the first thing you're going to buy when you, when PulseX 10,000X is? Oh, I'm going to get a Lambo and I'm going to be a huge house.
Lambo.
Wait a minute. So you're going to do the exact same stuff he's doing, but you're calling him a, you know, it's like, okay. Yeah. So it's all
That's
noise.
a great point too.
But
yeah,
so
I think two things: either maybe you don't have enough, maybe you're not informed enough about his mission, or if you feel this way, or you're not thinking deeply enough about what rich people like if you don't like his recent content.
yeah,
I would say.
good point. So I got to run in about 15 minutes. I know there was a few topics you
All
were
right.
really excited to jump into, so I want to make sure we get to those.
We got to like 3. So great segue into 2 good books. So I'll start it off. I've got a couple. So these are just a couple books that I've either read recently or I've read before that I really, really like. Kindness has got a couple too. This one, I think, is fundamental. I actually saw this Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I was introduced to this in a funny way. It was I was watching, I think, the Hex conference last year, and I wish I could remember the name of the guy who was on the panel, but he talked about it. I was just listening to it in the car passively, and he said Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, and I thought, man, I've never heard of that book. Let me look up this Napoleon Hill guy. And then you get into, you know, all the other book. Yeah, I never knew about this till maybe I don't know, 6 months ago or whenever it was. I listened to this book and I was like, wow. Like, it's not that I learned so much more from the book, is that it reinforced all these concepts that I had a little bit of footing on, but now I know I have a lot of footing on because I heard him explain it in all these intricate ways. So Think and Grow Rich, fundamental. I mean, it's an old book. It's a classic though, but it's so transferable these days if you are in the building wealth mindset.
Yep.
And the other book I have is the book that I think I promote more than any other book in the world, for a good reason, The Almanac of Naval, Ravikant. Naval is a person who I followed for years, probably almost as long as Richard, full of wisdom. He's an entrepreneur, lifelong angel investor. He gets deep into the weeds on a lot of different subjects. Famous tweets everywhere, tons of podcasts out there, audiobooks online. I'll try to put it in the description as well. And if you don't want to read the entire book, somebody literally made an analysis of the book, which is like 15 pages. It just has a lot of the big ideas, does a pretty good job. I think the book's fantastic, but if you can't bring yourself to read the entire book, get the analysis at least to give you an introduction.
Sure thing.
Yeah. What do you got, Kindness?
Man, I've got so many books. Books have changed my life. One of the things I'll share with you, I mean, I don't even know where to go on this, but I got a lot to share. It all depends on where you are in your life. It really does. Where are you in your financial journey? Where are you in your spiritual journey? Where are you? And furthermore, where do you want to go? So as I mentioned earlier, the book that pun intended, forked my trajectory in life was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. When I first graduated college, I was that American that was like, oh, I got a whatever $30,000 job. I'm going to go buy a $70,000 car because that's smart. I was just going to debt everything. And somebody was like, hey, you might want to check this out. And it was the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. And I read that and it was like, I was just like going through it and I came up like, oh, I'm doing it all wrong. And I mean, it literally changed my life and it just set me on this journey of I need to understand finances. So then the next book is Millionaire Next Door.
Yep.
That's a great book for understanding. Like we all have this idea of what a millionaire is. Sorry to tell you, it's really not what you think it is. Read the book Millionaire Next Door. The people you see that are crazy rich, that's not a millionaire. That's a Millionaire or beyond. So those two books, back when I was 23, really changed the trajectory of my life. From a interpersonal standpoint, gosh, there's so many of them. There's mindset is one of them. 7 Habits of Highly Successful People is one of them.
Yep. Great one.
But one of the books, and I would actually challenge you to read this one, because what I like most about this book is that it's like a Cliff's Notes version, done in a very, very good way, of all of the best books ever. And the name of the book is, I wrote it down, Art of the Good Life. And it's by Rolf, R-O-L-F, Dobelli. And
I've not heard that one.
This book is fantastic. It's 52 chapters. Each chapter is based on a lot of the teachings that you'll pick up in many of these different books. First principles thinking, like you said. There's a couple things like the end of time phenomena. There's just mental subtraction and just all this type of stuff. And all of the stuff he does, he talks about where this data came from, the studies it was based on, the white papers, the peer reviews, and how to apply it in your life. And I listen to this book once or twice a year. Like, this is my, I need to reset and start thinking proper again. And it's a fun book to listen to because he has, little stories that go along with it and how it ties into real life. I absolutely love that book. The next book, I just read this book and it was good enough that I'm going to read it again. You Are Awesome. Oh, I just won this book and I was like, oh, that's a cheeky, title or whatever. But I read this and I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
This was grabbing device.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic book for personal development and kind of setting your mind right on a few different things and ways to look at life. And, it kind of repeats some of the things that as you've read a lot of these books, you probably already know. But that one has challenged me, especially with sorry?
No problem on the reading books, because I think, again, with how to Think and Grow Rich, even though I'd already heard a lot of concepts, if you hear it over and over, and if you hear it from different sources, that makes it really sink in. Like, if you read one book and you get one idea and you never hear it again from anyone else, you may or may not remember that. You may or not want to apply it. But I think subconsciously, when you hear and read ideas from multiple different sources, it builds this framework in your mind. You feel confident in the idea and you're more likely to act on it. So I have no problem reading or listening to books that repeat some of the ideas, because I've listened to the same book a few times before, especially Naval's books. So no, it's reinforcing.
Yeah, I love talking about books. I could go on forever too. So I mentioned earlier that I'm a salesman and I like to be a very top performer. And two of the probably most impactful books I've read that have helped me really change my approach are, the first one is, I got it right. I got so many books written down. What did I do with it? It's called The Like Switch, Like Switch, by Jack Schaefer. He's an old FBI agent, and basically he talks about how he was trained to convert spies from other countries into double agents. And it's fascinating. It's all about the psychology of how you can get people to like and trust you. And he sells it's the intro to it is a really fun intro, because he sells it as a college professor. He gets kids interested in his class because he's like, I can teach you how to get laid in one day. And it's yeah, but you listen to it.
College kids want that.
Exactly. And so, obviously he's a hit, but it's all just about the psychology of getting people to like you. It is, even for streaming, for all this type of stuff. Fantastic book. I've read that one, listened to that one a dozen times. And then the other one, I don't have the name of the author right now, but it's called Never Split the Difference.
Oh yeah, Chris Voss.
Yeah, Chris Voss. And it's all about negotiating. Oh my gosh, blew my mind. I listened to that audiobook. I listened to it 6 times in a row.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always says these listening comments all the time just to get them to keep talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. I mean, and it's the simplest stuff. Like, okay, how am I supposed to do that? Tell me more. How am I supposed to do that?
those are the best books where it's not that you hear this very complicated process for doing something. It's that you get that aha moment when you see that it's so simple that you just never thought about it that way before. The author
Right.
knows how to put it in words that connect with you. Those are the best books. So
Yeah.
yeah. Also, we'll have the books in the comments or in the description as well. I'll try to put the links to them so they get a list from Kindness after the stream as well. That's a good list, and the one you challenged me to read as well. I've not heard of it, and I would definitely want to take a look for sure.
Yeah, take a look. It's an easy read. It's fun, but I'd love to hear your feedback on it because it's just a great. Like I said, it's Cliff's Notes of all of these great books almost, and I'm probably gonna go start listening to it again because now I'm talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I need a refresher on some of these things.
For sure, for sure. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Gosh, we didn't get to half the topics, but we dove into some really interesting parts, definitely, especially on the personal development. Touched a little bit on pulse and personal finance. Definitely good. Always great to talk about Richard. Um, let's go into gratitude. This is a segment where I think every day should be a little more like Thanksgiving. You eat good, have great conversations, say what you're thankful for. I think gratitude is one of the most underrated and underappreciated things you can do and give people. So, is there something or someone you want to express gratitude to? Like anything good somebody did for you, or a company that you're especially thankful for that you want to give props to, or a product that just like, oh God, I love this product. I want everyone to use it. They just help me so much.
Well, the product I that has helped me so much is a pharmaceutical product. Unless you have the same illness I have, it's not going to do you any good. But huge shout out to Vertex Pharmaceuticals for saving my life. Um,
Shout out.
the I'm going to start with the basics, and I'm actually going to quote something from the movie, from the book Art of the Good Life, and that is the lottery of birth. So many of us think that we control all of the things that have happened in our life, and that just isn't the case. You are a subject of your birth order, essentially, and I am thankful beyond belief for the fact that I was born into this time, into this country, into I won the lottery of birth. I'm a white male in middle America. It just doesn't get any better than that. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the time that I'm alive. If I had been born 20 years earlier, I wouldn't be alive right now because the pharmaceutical developments that are keeping me alive today didn't exist. So, I mean, that's just a foundation. What more can you be grateful after that? Well, life has been good to me, man. I can't thank my wife enough. It's a weird thing to say, but for falling in love with me. And I married the woman of my dreams, and she's an amazing life partner. We grow together, we challenge each other. Sometimes we argue, but I'm just so very thankful for her. And last but not least, I can't go without saying a huge thank you to iGuy is who he goes by in YouTube and Twitter. iGuy introduced me to crypto. He was patiently persistent to be there when I had questions, and he brought me this opportunity again with Richard Heart products, and he's just been a great mentor. So huge shout out to you, iGuy. If you happen to be listening to this at any time, I'm very, very thankful for you. So I think that's enough. I could go on, but how about yourself, man?
No, that's a great gratitude giving for sure. I don't have anything quite that heartfelt, but that was fantastic. I'm definitely glad we have good medical research in this country, and that we're only going to get better with, especially in the longevity angle with.
Oh no.
No, I just think, uh, yeah, no. So I would think honestly the product that I came across recently, Canva. So canva.com.
Yeah.
My wife had a subscription. It's just been fantastic. I've never I've never did any image editing or audio video stuff like that, and it makes it so easy. Again, there's no ads, no sponsorship, but I just want to shout out to a product that I've literally recently used and has helped me create this channel from scratch and made it so easy to do. So
Yeah. It's a
Canva, and
great
of course, it's a great. I imagine most YouTubers know the product, have used it, and could live without it in that way. So huge shout out to Canva, and I promise I'll have a better one for next time. But yeah, that's the product I've been using. And of course, health, wealth, happiness. I'm grateful. I would say that I'm grateful to be, given the opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunity. Lots of people have the opportunity to be happy, to have more time with their loved ones, spend more time with their family. Not all advantage of it. So I'm thankful to have a mind and have a heart that drives me towards doing things that I feel are healthy and that are rewarding for the long term, not just the dopamine hits. So I'm happy to have that myself as well.
That's
so
awesome.
We made it. CryptoKindness, you're the best, man. I told you that I wanted to have you on the channel first because you were so kind to me having me on your channel, especially when I had very few followers and was just new to the social realm in general and the Hex community. You've been great to me. Grateful to you for sure for all you've done. And hey, we'll have to have you on again, and I'm sure we'll keep talking and work on some good stuff together.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. I really appreciate it. I'm happy for you for starting a channel. It's certainly going to be one of your biggest cheerleaders. I'd like to end, well, it's yours to end, but my last words, I heard a great quote the other day that I need to do a better job of recognizing, but the quote is, happiness is like a butterfly. If you chase it, it's always just out of reach. But if you sit calmly, it'll land on your shoulder.
Beautiful quote. Yeah. That's a great way to end it. Just imagine that butterfly that's sitting on your shoulder, you remaining calm, being in the moment and feeling that peace and calm, and to get what you need to do done. So beautiful.
Can I add one more? I said I was done, but I'm not done.
One more quote for you. Sure.
Dude, gratitude. How do we not do this? First dream ever. I am grateful for Richard Heart. I'm grateful for his vision. I'm grateful for him welcoming me in to take a part of it. And I'm grateful for the excitement that the future brings because of what he's bringing to us.
I thought it went without saying, but no, you said it eloquently as well. It's I think we're all here on stream because Richard motivated us to do something and to bring something out of the community that we didn't have before. What else would we be doing? We'd be promoting Cardano or some other project that we're never going to meet. We're never going to meet Charles Hopkins. He's never going to be on stage doing live Q&A at a Hex conference, stuff like that. So no, couldn't have a better founder. Thankful. And much gratitude to Richard Heart, of course, on the RHMax channel. That's all we got. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the comments. It's been a lovely time here, and we're going to go to the outro. So until next time.
Thank you.